Awesome. Sounds great.
All right, guys. We got Coach Sam Mallard. He's the run game coordinator, offensive line coach at Goose Creek High School in South Carolina. It's a 5A school, the largest classification they have over there. Today, he's going to go into his inside zone run game a little bit for us. So take it away, Coach.
Hey, thank you for having me, Coach. So
Appreciate it.
Today I am going to be talking about how we run inside zone. So we use a count system, and I think it's really, really easy to use. And I have used it for the last 5 years. Obviously, I am not the creator of this. If I was, I'd be a lot smarter. But I learned this from an old buddy of mine who is the offensive line who's the offensive coordinator at Mallard Creek High School. His name's Robert Helms, great coach. So we worked together when I was at Northwestern High School, which is in my hometown of Rock Hill, South Carolina. Some famous alumni from Rock Hill, you've probably heard of them, like Stephon Gilmore and Jadeveon Clowney, just to name, like the top echelon, I guess you could say. Going back to me in general, I obviously played in high school, and then I played at Newberry College, which is a small Division II school in South Carolina as well. And then right when I left there, I moved to James Island Charter High School, which is in South Carolina. Worked there for a year, then moved to Hillcrest High School and actually coached defense at Hillcrest High School, which is in Greenville. And then I went to Northwestern, the school that I learned this count system in, and was there for 2 years. And then I have been at Goose Creek for 3 years now. So going on, next fall will be year number 4 at Goose Creek. So like I said, I appreciate you having me, Coach, and let's take a little deep dive into what we do. All right.
Awesome.
All right, let me see if it'll go to the next slide for me here. All right, so the count system. All right, it's very, very easy to learn, and like I said, I've used it for the last 5 years. So I'm just going to go through what the count system is and then the rules. All right, so the 0 is the head up nose. Now, I get questions all the time, Coach, what if the nose is in a 1 technique? Well, then he's not the 0, he's the 1. And it'll make more sense when I go in just a second. All right, so the 0 is the head up nose or the first play side linebacker. All right, the 1 is the next closest man to the ball play side. So PS is play side, BS is backside. The 2 is the next closest man play side after the 1. All right, so the 0 has to be head up or he's going to be the first play side linebacker. The 1 is going to be the next closest man play side, then the 2 follows the 1. All right, now when you can see you can run it right or left. It's play side. It doesn't necessarily have to be right or left. All right, so then you have the -1, which is the next closest man to the ball backside, or he's going to be the stack linebacker, which is important when you play those defenses who like to stack, like those 3-3 stacks, or maybe they're running some crazy like 3-1, like we've seen that a lot. I've also seen, like a 4-2 with 2 1s and 2 guys who are stacked. I've seen some craziness. All right. And then we'll go to our -2, who's the next closest man to the ball backside after the -1. So then, now everywhere I've been, we haven't been fortunate enough to have those mythical beasts we call tight ends, because those guys usually play on defense. But if you have a tight end, then those dudes are usually going to be responsible for the 3. And it'll make more sense when I go through the responsibilities, but we usually don't have those nice tight end guys. So the 3 is the next closest man after the ball, is the next closest man play side after 2, and then -3 is the next closest man backside after -2. All right, so this is how we set the count system up. And then after this, we'll go into who is responsible for who. And they're always the same. They never change. The responsibilities, it's always going to stay the same. We're never going to say, hey, center, now you have 2, right? That'll never change, all right? So let's go into the responsibilities. So here are the responsibilities. Number 1 rule. It's literally the only rule. You cannot get beat across your face. That's it. That's the only rule that I have. All right, and it'll make more sense when we go into the more detailed of who has who and whatnot. But you cannot get beat across your face, and I cannot stress that enough, because if a defender cuts across your face, then number 1, you're giving up penetration, right? And number 2, you're gonna mess up the read for the running back. All right, so let's go into who has what. All right. Now, a philosophy that I have is there are 5 offensive linemen. So why would you block 4 people with 5? Right? That doesn't make any sense in my mind. So you're telling me that the defense is going to get an advantage every single play. Why would we do that? I mean, we don't like those guys on defense, right? So we're going to block 5 with 5 every single play, all the time. And then some guys I know even try to block 3 people with 5. So now you're giving the defense 2 extra guys? Doesn't make much sense in my mind. But we'll talk about who has what, right? So the center always has the 0, all right? So if you remember, the 0 is the head up nose, has to be head up, or the first play side linebacker. So that is the center's responsibility all the time, every day, the ends in Y, that's his job. And then we'll go to the 1. The 1 is always the play side guard, right? Which is why I said you could run it right or left. It doesn't matter. It just revolves around the play side, all right? And then I think you guys are starting to pick it up a little bit. The play side tackle has the 2, all right? So then if we go backwards and we work to negatives, the backside guard has a -1, and then the backside tackle has a -2, all right? And then I told you a second ago, if you have those glorious players we like to call tight ends, if you have a play side tight end, he'll block the 3, and then if you have a backside tight end, he'll block the -3, all right? So no matter if you run it right or left, the play side is always going to have 1 and 2, and the backside is always going to have -1 and -2, every time. And then the center will always have 0. Now, the glory of the count system is that it's very, very simple to learn, right? So it literally, when you get up there and you go through it, no matter how many fronts you come across, you can tell your guys, look, this is the 0, who's responsible for it? And the center, I got it. Okay. And then, if you're right, then the right guard will have 1, and the right tackle will have 2, the left guard will have -1, and the right tackle, the left tackle will have -2. All right. So it's very, very simple to learn, and I really, really enjoy teaching it. So let's go on to what it will look like. All right. So these are all going to be left. So these are all inside zone left. All right. So if we go to the first one in our top left-hand corner, all right, is the nose head up? No, he's not. So who is the 0? The first play side linebacker. All right. So then who is the 1? He's going to be the nose. Now, this is what confuses a lot of guys. Even like when I'm teaching it for the very first time and I draw it up, it always makes me laugh a little bit, because like I even let them hold their notebooks. So they're looking at the rules and they're looking at it and they're like, this doesn't make any sense. How is 1 before 0? But this is the only instance where it's like really strange. So the nose is not the head up guy. So it's going to be the first play side linebacker. And then the 1 will be the nose. All right. And then the next closest guy to the ball after that is going to be the end. So he's going to be 2. All right. And then the next closest man backside is this linebacker. He'll be -1. And then the next guy, -2. All right. So the theory is I'm blocking 5 dudes with 5 dudes. Right. And then I'm going to try to get as many double teams as I want. As I can, because I want those defensive linemen, I want it really hard on them, right? I want us to move those guys either vertically or horizontally. I don't really care which one we do it, as long as we get movement on the D line. All right, so here's what it'll look like. All right, So the tackle will have the 2. The guard, his responsibility is 1, right? The play side guard's responsibility is 1. So he's going to literally step to that nose. Now, I know you're like, well, coach, what if this linebacker blitzes? Well, if the linebacker blitzes, then that's an in-game thing, and we'll talk about it, or we'll talk about it through the week. But usually those guys aren't moving very often. So if they're a stagnant front, then it becomes really easy. But if they do like to move, then we'll talk about it, and we'll say, hey, look, you have to go to your left, right? And center, you'll have the nose by yourself. All right. So it is a fluid situation at the same time. But for the most part, this is how we're going to do it, right? We want to get this double team, and we want to work to the 0, right? So the center has the 0, so he's going to work through that 1 to that 0. All right, and then the same thing is going to happen on the backside, right? So we want to get that double team, and then we're going to work towards the linebacker, all right? So like I said, in my mind, we're trying to get double teams. We're trying to get double teams as much as we can. So let's move to the next one. So is the nose head up? Yes, 0. All right. So now who becomes the 1? The next closest man to the ball, play side, defensive end, right? So you're like, well, coach, who's closer, that end or that backer? Well, physically closer to the ball is that end, right? So then the 2 is the linebacker. Now, we go back to our rules. This is what I was talking about a little bit ago. When we go -1, he's stacked. Right? So now you have 0 and you have -1, and then you have -2. Now, coach, who's -2? Great question, right? And I don't know the answer to it. And the reason I don't know the answer to it is because I don't know if this defensive end is going out, or if this linebacker's coming in, or if the linebacker's coming out, or the defense is coming in. I don't know on that given play. So I'm not going to tell this tackle, hey, you are 100% responsible for this defensive end. Well, what if he goes out, right? Well, then this linebacker is going to be a free hitter, and he's just going to blow.
So, coach, right there, you're teaching an area.
Yes, sir.
So area.
Exactly. So I'll show you what it looks like. All right. So we'll go play side. Now, if it's a stacked, we always are going to us, because this 1 right here is the guard's responsibility, right? So the guard is going to come to the 1. Right? And then the tackle will have this 2. Now, let's say on the play, this end goes out and this linebacker comes here. Well, it's the double team. So now the guard will just take him. All right. And the same thing is going to happen with the center and the guard, and they're going to work to that linebacker. And then, like coach, you asked the question, this tackle is going to go inside, because the number 1 rule, don't get beat across your face. Right? So I'm going to come inside, boom, as hard as I can. And if this defensive end comes with me, I'm going to make sure he stays outside, because I can't get beat across my face. Now, when I go inside, if this end comes out, then that's fine. I'll just climb to this linebacker, making sure he doesn't beat me across my face.
Gotcha.
Because that's the number 1 rule. You cannot get beat across your face. All right, let's go to the bottom left, right? So there's no head up nose. So we got the 0 as a play side linebacker. Then we have the next closest man to the ball, next closest man to the ball after the 1, next closest man to the ball backside, and then next closest man after -1. All right. So then now this is where it gets a little tricky, right? Because this guy's kind of flirting with being on the center and being in that 2-eye technique. So how it's going to work is we're going to go obviously 2, obviously 1, right? Don't get beat across your face. That's the only one rule. That's the only rule we have. All right. And then the nose is literally, then the center is going to take his drive towards that nose, and then he's going to work to the linebacker, right? Because we're trying to get those double teams. Now, if this guy right here, if he isn't really good, then I might just say, hey, center, you just go to linebacker. Now, if this guy right here is, a power 5 defensive tackle, then we might not even worry about blocking this guy, and we might block this guy. Now, if they're both power 5 guys, we might have to run something else, because those are going to be some good players on the other side, right? So then obviously now we'll go to the right tackle, and he'll go up to the -2. Now, how I teach this is I teach as a sift technique. So what he'll do, as opposed to him just running down really hard, well, I mean, as a defense, right? If the tackle is taught to run down here, well, that end's going to squeeze and he's going to make this whole mesh point slash running back's lane extremely hard to run through. So I teach him he's got to stay vertical as he climbs through the line of scrimmage, and then he can work his way to that linebacker. Now, if this linebacker is getting crazy and blitzing and stuff, then yeah, he'll obviously have to go right now. All right. So then we'll move to the 3-2 box. So the 3-2 box is the easiest one to teach. So like if you were ever going to start teaching the count system, I would highly recommend starting with the 3-2 box because it's the easiest one to teach the inside. I mean, to teach the count system to, right? So the 0, obviously he's head up, then 1, then 2. Then -1, then -2. It's extremely easy to teach, and it's extremely easy to block, to believe it or not, right? Because the only rule is don't get beat across your face. So we have tackle on end, we have guard on backer, center on nose, guard on backer, tackle on end. Extremely easy to teach. Now, if these guys right here are playing around, or if he's playing around, like he's slanting real hard one way or the other, and I notice it throughout the week, then I'll communicate with the guards, hey guys, we're going to need to drive and then work. All right. Now, if these guys are real stagnant players and they're kind of like two-gapping it, then I'll just have my guys one-on-one them, and I'll just send my guards right now to the linebackers. So if I was starting, I would definitely start with the 3-2 box because I think it's the easiest one. It's just 0, 1, 2, -1, -2. All right. And then, like I said, we don't have any tight ends, but if we did, then they would be responsible for this guy here, and they would be responsible for this defensive end here, and then they would be responsible for the opposite one of this tackle, right? So he would come down and he would block whoever, like they would do another double team, right? So we have one double team, we have 2 double teams, and then we'd have 3. So this is obviously if the tight end is backside. If the tight end is play side, then he'll do a double team to whoever's like over here. So it could be like, a linebacker who's kind of cheating the box, or, defenses like to walk that guy down. Well, then if you just walk him down, yeah, then he'll just come down. Number 1 rule, don't get beat across your face. All right, tight ends. So they know the same stuff. All right, let's, I think we got some film next. All right, so let me, bring this film up real quick, Coach. All right, so,
Before you get in your tape, Coach, what's some of y'all's main formations that y'all use?
So the main formations is, I'll show them to you here, Coach. So when we go, like, here's our normal formation. We'll just have, like, this guy's a sniffer, right? He hardly ever plays on the line. So this guy, he'll be actually responsible for that 3/-3. And for the majority of the time, like this guy, he'll like I said, he'll never be on the line, right? So then we have our wide receivers, 2x1, running back, sniffer,
Gotcha.
right? Or H-back, or whatever you want to call it.
Whatever you want to call it.
So this one, all right, let's see which way we're going here. All right, so we are actually going to go, this is inside zone to the right. All right. So this guy is not head up. So he's going to be the 1, right? First play side linebacker is going to be the 0. And then this guy is going to be the 2, right? Then we'll have the next closest man to the ball, which is going to be him. So this team right here likes to play like this guy will flirt between a 1 technique and a head up 0, and then they'll play a 4-eye and a 5 on the same side. Like they're the only team that I've ever seen do it. So like, I mean, I don't know. So the count system is really just the 3-2 box, right? With this guy walked up, right? Because we can't block 6 with 5. So this guy right here, he'll become the -3. Man, if I could draw, it'd be even better. Right, he'll become the -3, and that's who the sniffer will block, right? So it's going to look kind of funny right here because this tackle is going to block this 2. And like I said a second ago, when we do a 3-2 box, which is what the right side is working. So the right side is working a 3-2 box, right? So he'll just come up here, right? Now, if he's in that one, then that guard will have to come down and then he'll work up. And then these two gentlemen here, the two left guard and left tackle, will come to this 4-eye technique working to this linebacker. All right, so let's see what plays out here. Yep, and that's exactly how it works. So as you can see, don't get beat across your face. My right guard is going to step hard into that one technique. And now, really, he's a little too turned for my liking. But at the same time, he gets the job done. Boom, right? He blocks his linebacker out. The center is working. So the center is keeping his guy on the right? Because the running back is reading the center's block. If the center goes to the right, the running back will go left. If the center goes to the left, the running back will go right in all instances, in every single instance. So if we go back some, right, as you can see now, the left guard and the left tackle stay on that double team. Excellent job on the double team. So much so that the left guard actually gets turned a little bit. I'd like him to stay more vertical, but at the same time, great job of moving the double team, right? I'd rather those guys block the DL than the linebackers. Now, number one rule, don't get beat across your face. As you can see, the sniffer gets beat across his face. See, right now, he's in good position, and then he loses it, and he gets beat across his face, and his guy is making the tackle.
Yep.
All right, so let's go to the next. Oh, there we go. So let's go to the end. Let's go to the next film, coach. So here we go. So now this team right here plays the traditional 4-2, like I got this gap, you got that gap defense, right? So this guy, 1, 0. Oh, snap. I might not, let me erase that, coach, if I can. Undo. Right, I don't know which way we're going. Sorry about that. Okay, we are going to the right. All right, so let me rewind. Hopefully you can edit that part. All right. So we'll go 1, 0, 2. Then we'll have -1, and then -2. All right, and then this guy is still obviously our -3. Now, if you had 2 tight ends, you could say this guy was -4, but we'll never block that guy as an offensive line. All right, so let's see what happens here. All right, so as you can see, the person messing the play up is my left tackle. All right, so his responsibility is -2, and he's actually blocking -3. So the left tackle comes up, boom, he goes to -3 when he should be going to -2. Right, who is this linebacker number 7? Now, if he blocks that guy, the running back doesn't even have to slow down, right? We have a nice little running back there, as you can see, man. It's pretty good. And he's still out the gate, right? Now, because everybody else is doing their responsibility pretty well, right? So our right tackle, he's blocking 2, making sure he doesn't get beat across his face. That's fine. If the defensive end wants to run upfield, A-okay with me, right? Because we're running inside zone. We're not running outside zone. So great job by the tackle here, keeping him outside. We get a nice little double team here. Number 24 linebacker, who the center's blocking, comes down right now. So we're going to come off. We're both not going to get beat across our face. Perfect job. Then we have our left guard, who does get beat across his face here, right? But he continues to work and he keeps him at the line of scrimmage, right? Good job keeping him. Now he's just going to wash him. And our running back, who's pretty good, he's going to get some extra yards there, right? Thanks, running back. You're making us look good, right? All right, let me there we go. All right, so the next, all right. So here we go. So we're going right again. All right, so now as you can see, they're in this like 3-2 with the stand up guy right here, right? So this right here is going to be the -1, right? Because technically he is in this backside shoulder of the center. So this is going to be the 0, and this is going to be the 1, and he'll be the 2. All right, and then I don't know who's coming inside. If I had to take a guess, I would say it was 90, but I don't know right now. So it's going to be -2 is going to be whoever comes inside. But I'm just going to write it over 90 just because I think he's going to do it. Let's see. Yep. Right. So when we start to play, okay, we get a nice little twist up front. Perfect job, right? Don't get beat across your face. Don't get beat across your face. Keep them both outside. There's the hole, right? The hole is nice and wide on our right-hand side. Now, I would like the center to stay just a fraction longer on that down lineman because, like I said, we're trying to get double teams. I want double teams. I don't really care about blocking the linebackers as much as I do the D-line because here's what's happened if you don't block D-line, right? Our left tackle gets beat across his face, and that guy is making a tackle in the backfield, right? So I'm not saying this play, this is, 1,000% going to work for you every play, right? I want to show you our mistakes too. So the left guard he is moving backwards, but he is not getting beat across his face. Now he should get a little bit more help from the center, right? Overall, not a great play for us, right? All right, let's go to the next one. So we're still playing the same team. This is this team right here is actually really good. We played this team right here for the region. It's been split between us the last I think 6 years. Luckily for us, we've got it the last 2, so we are back-to-back region champs. So as we come down, we're going to our right. All right. So as we go to our right, here we go. We have this is our -1. Now, this guy right here is our 0 because he is the first play side linebacker, which is why I wanted to include this clip because it's going to look kind of funny, right? Like this guy right here, he's way over here, which means here's how I teach my guys, right? If you're the 0 is all the way over here, right, and the -1 is lined up on you, you get to stay on this double team for a really long time, right? Now, if before the snap, this guy moves over, then he will become the 0 and they'll have to communicate where the double team is going to now, right? So then we have our 1, and then we have our 2, and then we have our -2. All right, number 1 rule, don't get beat across our face. Obviously, our sniffer / H-back will have -3, which will be this guy, right? All right, let's see what happens. All right, so they're running some type of game up front. And our right tackle is getting beat across his face, right? Oh, actually, Coach, let me rewind all that, man. This is actually going left. Sorry. Can you edit these, Coach?
I might be able to, Coach, but that's no big deal, man. Just draw it up the other way. That way they can see both directions anyway. The count is going both ways.
Gotcha. So if we go, so we're actually going left. Sorry about that, guys. So we're going to go 1, 0, 2, and then this guy will be the 3, right? And then we'll have -1, and then we'll have -2. Now, there's an in-game adjustment that I communicate with my guys that will make everybody move over a guy. So if you progress in the count system, you can have your guys actually bump over one, right? So, I mean, you can call it whatever you want, right? So my guys are actually going to go over a person. So then this guy will become 2, then he'll become 1, and he'll become the 0, and he'll become -1, and he'll become -2. Now now these guys right here. So I have spent 3 years, obviously, with these guys right here, and I have 4 seniors. So like they know the count system, they get it, they understand it. So when we go, so we're going to go to the left, right? Now, if my right guard would actually stay a little bit longer, he could help that tackle out. But they are running some type of game, right? I'm not trying, like I said, I'm not trying to show y'all we're the, best team ever, and we're never going to make mistakes, right? We make mistakes. We're all human, right? So our tackle gets beat across his face, which does lead to a 1-yard gain as opposed to a 50-yard gain, right? All right, so let's go to the next one. So this is the best team that we play down here, and let's see which way we're going first. So we are going to our left. So this is left. All right, so we have 1, 0, 2, and we have -1. I mean, excuse me. This is -2, and this is -1. All right, and then this guy right here is -3. All right, so how it will work, right? We'll have tackle, guard is going to come here, and then he's going to work up. Now, when the ball is snapped, these numbers can change, right? Especially like if this guy's playing really hard on the center, then the guard will come up. I mean, it's a double team, but the count system will teach them which way to go and where to go before the snap, right? All right, so let's see what happens. Now, when we go, right, we get a double team, we get 2 double teams. All right, which is what we want, right? We don't get beat across our face by our left tackle, doing a great job. We're getting a great push on our double team up top between the right guard and right tackle. Now, if the running back hits this inside, I just want to show you this hole right here. As you can see, here's the hole, right? Now I know he's not going to hit it because he's feeling this pressure right here. But if he's not feeling this pressure, then he'll be able to run right through this hole right. But he feels it and bounces, and we still get 7. All right, so let's go back. Same team, right? This is the best team that we play down here, right? I mean, look at this guy. He's 340, right? So when we are going to the left. No, we are going. Yeah, we should be going to the left. I'm not sure what the sniffer's doing right here. Yeah, we should be going to the left, right? Or excuse me, we should be going to the right. I think our left tackle's messing up. All right. So before the snap, we have 0 all the way out there. We have -1, we have 1, and we have 2. And then on the backside, we have -2. All right. So we should get this nice double team here. And now, since this guy's almost out of the box, we can stay on this double team for as long as we want, right? Because if we come down and we hit this ball inside, right, he'll probably make the tackle, but he'll make it at 6, right? Now, if he's obviously closer inside the box, then the center has to come off sooner. But as you can see, our right guard gets beat across his face at the end of the play, but since our left tackle is doing such a great job of pushing that defensive end out, we still get a nice little 8-yard clip there. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, so I know I've shown you all a lot of 4-down fronts. So this team actually does play a 3-down front. So they're in the 3-2 with a stand-up. So this guy, let me see if I can rewind it just a little bit. Yep. So we have the true 0, right? And then we have 1, 2. Then we'll have -1 and -2. All right, which means that my guards are going to go right now to those linebackers, right? Boom, right now to those linebackers. All right, so like I told you earlier as well, don't get beat across your face. So my right tackle, that guy is trying his best to beat him across his face. But as you can see, my right tackle is fighting like crazy to make sure he doesn't, right? That's the only thing that can't happen. You can't get beat across your face. Left tackle, not getting beat across his face. Center, I told you a little bit ago that if the center goes to the right, then the running back's going to go to the left. And if the center goes to the left, then the running back's going to go to the right, right? So here our center goes to the left, so our running back goes to the right, right? There he goes, right? So the same thing's going to happen. Watch our guards. Boom. Right now, right up to the linebackers. Don't get beat across your face. We have a nice little face mask there, and the safety's making the tackle, right? I mean, like I tell our guys, man, the running back's got to make one miss, right? He's got to get paid too. All right. So he does get a little face mask there. So we get a nice little 10-yard run, and we're going to get 15 more. All right. And then I think we got one more here. Maybe 2 more. I think we got 2 more here. All right. So this team likes to run a 2-2, or like a stacked right here in the box. So they'll run 2 2s, and then they'll run 2 guys who are stacked right behind them. So the same thing applies, right? First play side linebacker, 0, right? 1, 2. Then we'll have, I don't know who's coming inside, so they have to figure it out for themselves, right? But we're trying to get double team. So we're going to double team, and it's going to change, right? It's kind of like that when I showed you the formations of the -2 and the 3-3 stack, right? Because I don't know who's coming inside, and I don't know who's going outside, right? On any given one play, I don't know that information, right? But we're going to do a double team if they're stacked, right? So we're going to do double team on, we're going to get 2 double teams on the inside, 2 guys, all right? Tackle, make sure you don't get beat across your face. Now, if our left guard isn't giving up as much penetration as he is, like if we get a little better double team here, I want you to see this hole that's about to open up. Right? So look at this hole that's happening right here. Right? So our left guard, he is getting beat across his face, but he's trying his best not to, right? He's trying his best to not get beat across his face. That's the only rule that I have. So he's still fighting like crazy. And it doesn't really matter because our right tackle does a great job of pushing their defensive end off the ball. And we get a really good double team. So when we do this, we're just going to and get in the end zone, right? There we go. Touchdown. All right. And then I think we have one more. Yep, we got one more. All right. So like I said a second ago, they're in 2 2s. So we have 1, 0, 2, right? Because he's not head up. All right. If he's not head up, he's not the 0. All right. It'll always be a linebacker if he's not head up. All right. And then we have -1 and -2, right? Theoretically. Now, if this guy obviously comes down, then the guard will take it. All right. So let's go. All right. So Get a double team. That nose goes out. The D tackle goes outside. So our center works vertically to the linebacker right now. Our left tackle does a tremendous job of not getting beat across his face, right? As you can see, watch his first drive, how it comes inside. Boom, his first drive's inside. We're going to work it out. All right. Our running back notices, he's like, oh, okay, I'm going to go to the right. But then he notices that our guard is actually getting beat across his face at the last minute, right? But he stays on him, though. He's still fighting, right? Our left guard. Oh, so our running back puts his foot in the ground, and he gets vertical. And watch our center here. Not getting beat across his face, driving that guy, right? So as you can see, watch our center here. Boom, he works vertically. Boom, on the linebacker. Make sure you don't get beat across your face. You've committed right, you stay right. There we go. Nice little 30-yard run, right? All right. And then I think that's, yeah. We're going to start over, Coach. We're not going to start all the way back over. All right. And then let me go to the last one. All right. And then, so again, I'm Coach Mallard on my Twitter. Twitter is Coach_Mallard, Instagram, Coach_Mallard. And then if you have any questions, you can just send me an email at smallard77@gmail.com, and I will get back to you. I have notifications on my phone, right? So as soon as you send me that email, I'll probably see it and I can get back to you.
I got a couple questions for you, Coach, just real quick before we go.
Of course.
About a few minutes left, not long. It looked like y'all like to pair that up with some key screens on the perimeter out there.
Say that again, Coach. Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Y'all pair y'all's inside zone with some key screens on the perimeter out there?
So when we're doing an RPO, so we're actually our quarterback is looking at the outside linebacker to see if he's trying to play in like that gray area or if he's committing to the box or whatnot. So we're going to run like a little hitch dig inside behind him every play, every inside zone.
Awesome. Do y'all have like a complement run scheme to the inside zone that y'all like?
So this past year, we ran inside zone, obviously, right? And then we run power, and then we run ISO.
Okay.
And then this year, we put in buck sweep towards like game 4. We only played 8 games this year, so about halfway through the season, we put in buck sweep.
Okay, we're the same. We got 8 in, and then we had 1 get canceled due to a hurricane, so we ended up getting 7 in the regular season.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We got 7 in the regular season, and then we lost in the first round, unfortunately.
So but that was it, Coach. I just wanted to kind of get a little bit more of y'all's overall, game plan and philosophy at the end, and that's it, Coach. I appreciate having you, man.
No, of course. Thank you for having me, Coach. I don't know how to make my thumbnail big here. Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Well, you need anything else, Coach? Like any